I have no idea what law of attraction means, but if you still want to watch a video on me talking about something I know nothing about, then stay tuned. This episode's topic was inspired by Ania. Be sure to check out her channel, Tarot by Ania. In terms of master teachers and spiritual leaders I tend to follow, I've never known a single one to speak directly on the law of attraction. So my only understanding of this term is the internet. So that's going to be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube videos, and Twitter. And you know what? Give me a second. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page for this. Okay, let me see if I've got this right. Thoughts are energy. Like energy attracts like energy. Alchemically, I don't know if that's true, but I'll overlook that detail for now and just keep going. So like energy attracts like energy, allegedly. So if I think happy thoughts become happy energy, and happy energy attracts happiness because happiness is happy energy. If I think wealthy thoughts become wealthy energy, and wealthy energy attracts wealth because wealth is wealthy energy. The Wikipedia entry for the law of attraction talks about cognitive framing and visualization techniques within the context of that concept. And both of these ideas are ones I definitely buy into. Constant negative thinking will have a detrimental impact on you, sure. And one way to overcome that is to reevaluate and reframe the events, conditions, ideas, people, and assumptions around that negative thought. When you reframe, then you can transform that negative thought into a positive one, and you can become more constructive with your ideas and way of thinking, and thereby eradicate that detrimental impact. Okay, I absolutely agree with that. But that's not attraction or like attracting like. That's transformation. Cognitive reframing is a transmutation, not happy thoughts become happy energy becomes happiness. As for visualization techniques, creative visualization is a powerful ritual for inducing the placebo effect. And by way of a placebo, what you've visualized, you can certainly change the way you feel and eradicate your suffering. I also agree that visualization is a highly effective technique for achieving success because it's a form of focusing intensely on a target, aiming and then shooting for what you visualize. Athletes use it. Occultists definitely use it. I think to a certain extent, we all intuitively use visualization techniques. It's part of our instincts. I'm usually the first to glorify the powers of our mind, and you'll hear me use the term the law of attraction when I'm being lazy with my vocabulary. But if I may chime in here, thoughts are energy, manifestations are energy attracts like energy, therefore like thoughts attract like manifestations. I mean, that doesn't follow deductive logic. There's an alchemy here that's way more nuanced, way more complex than many of the proponents of the law of attraction let on. The law of attraction, for me to feel like such a law would be valid, would have to be a quadratic formula with so many variables that only an experienced occultist would be able to effectively operate manifestations under a so-called law of attraction. The law of attraction, if you're asking me to define it, is spellcrafting, but spellcrafting is not think happy thoughts to manifest happiness, think wealthy thoughts to manifest wealth. That's just not how spellcrafting works. Ergo, the common way we as a society have come to understand or define so-called law of attraction is not an equivalent to spellcrafting. When you've been thinking and thinking about how much you want a Fendi handbag, and then 2 days later your boyfriend gifts you with a Fendi handbag, that's not the law of attraction at play, at least not the way I define it. And if that is what you'd call the law of attraction, then again, if I may chime in, I don't buy into the law at all. The chain of causation there is so problematic that it's ludicrous magical thinking, and it does an enormous disservice to true craft. How many subconscious micro-expressive cues have you been sending your boyfriend about how much you want that Fendi handbag? So basically, If I flat out say to James, go buy me a Fendi handbag, and he does, that's not the law of attraction. Okay? But if I pretty much do the same thing and say the same thing only instead of with express words, I say it through micro expressive behavior, that somehow becomes the law of attraction simply because I'm not self-aware enough to realize I've been sending micro-expressive cues. Okay, sure. Micro-expressive cues at the subconscious level, of course, doesn't explain every incident that we attribute to the law of attraction. What about synchronicity? We think something and then that thing we thought about appears seemingly out of nowhere into our lives. Is that the law of attraction at play? Synchronicity isn't explained away by the law of attraction. The universe of energies that make up our world is a complex web of threads, and you'd have to be able to step way, way back to see the whole picture of that web and follow the line of two threads that began at far apart, removed points to see how they were woven through that web to that point where the two threads intersect. And at that intersection point, create a phenomenon we call synchronicity. That's not the law of attraction. To think that you did that is a bit ludicrous. Much bigger events were at play way before your happy thoughts or wealthy thoughts. In fact, maybe you've got the chronology of events all wrong. Maybe due to circumstances much bigger than you can conceive or have knowledge of, something was coming head on for you, and your intuition picked up on that inbounding energy, which materialized in your mind as a thought. And then, boom, the inbound energy hits. You think that your thought created the inbound energy when in fact the inbound energy created that thought. It was the inbounding energy that induced you to think that thought. What concerns me about the law of attraction doctrine, as it's being peddled today by mainstream spiritualists, is it overlooks good old-fashioned common sense. Being negative and pessimistic doesn't attract negativity and bad mojo, but being negative and pessimistic are self-defeating attitudes that make you more prone to not trying as hard and not putting in your best efforts. When you're positive and optimistic, you're more prone to trying harder and you're more prone to putting in your best effort. That's not negativity attracting failure or positivity attracting success. It's negativity inducing less probable circumstances for success and positivity inducing more probable chances at success. That's just everyday lifestyle good tips. And if you're telling me that the law of attraction isn't that simple, that I've oversimplified the concept just to make my presumptive point, then okay, fine. You called me out. I acknowledge it. So if the law of attraction isn't as simple as I've made it out to be, and there are all of these steps in between that you have to be proactive about, A, B, C, D, all these things you must do and arrange, set into motion, change about yourself, modify your own outlook of life, and so on, for the so-called law of attraction to work, then what exactly is the difference between law of attraction and good old-fashioned hard work? Chiming in with just my thoughts here, the law of attraction isn't a law at all, not in any methodical or logical sense of the word. And using the phrase law of attraction is lazy thinking, which is totally okay. I'm okay with lazy thinking, and I definitely engage in lazy thinking much of my life, especially on the everyday mundane level. But you just have to be self-aware. You just have to understand that when you use the term law of attraction, you're engaging in lazy thinking. It's not a real thing.
Bell Chimes In is a video series on my channel where I chime in about a topic oft talked about, a subject matter that's been making its rounds in circuits of discussion, and I give my opinion, my thoughts, and my perspective. After you've seen the video, I'd love to have you chime in as well to share your opinion, thoughts, and perspective. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have a totally different experience? You add value when you're part of the discourse. Talk to me, talk to each other. When we're talking, we're acknowledging. And isn't that such an important first step?